First and Howard is really strategic in the city's location, in the sense that the financial district, all of the financial district actually empties down through First Street on its way onto the Bay Bridge. And so one of the things that we did was to look at various schemes. And the early schemes really looked at where the architecture really came up to the street frontages and held the street edges. Then we actually started to look at the larger context of the urban fabric and felt that, in the financial district, for example, we have a 15-to-1 ratio. The towers were extremely tall compared to the open space corridor. So I have this very vertical space, very compressed space. Really, the idea was to embrace the very large-scale roads that are south of Market. And so we took the amount of open space dedicated to each parcel and leveraged it with the existing road infrastructure to create the idea of this public square. When we came here, we really wanted this square to be very vibrant and an exciting place that one moves and arrives into. And one of the great things has been this kind of very innovative architectural skin that became the jewel box that was the wrapper that defined this four-block intersection. And then on the ground level, the idea was to really make this as public and as integrated with the mixed-use spirit, with the idea of coffee shops, cafes that spill out onto these elevated plinths that the building sat on. The people and their activities are really part of the visual delight of the space. In terms of the landscaping, the idea was to keep it really quite open and visually open and flexible, but actually to have very seasonal tree canopies that are migrating only and occupying only the corners of this plaza. Our role with the ground plane was to keep this very simple and humble spirit really about it. It's really the enclosure, the glazing, the transparency exhibited in this, the kind of very tech quality, the minimal tech quality that seems, the very magical part. And that the grittiness of what we see and how people use it and the traffic all adds to that complexity, and that creates that kind of contrast that is really great in contrast to this very austere, simple, elegant treatment of urban spaces. If you look here, you can sense that the roads is actually transitioning below the plaza and above the plaza. The challenge was to keep it so that we didn't have to have guardrails everywhere. So the idea was to keep it pretty much. It turned out that if we had sort of 18 inches at all the corners, that they would read at the same level, is done all with a pedestal system, so that we keep it absolutely flat. And the idea would be that it's not limited to just the exterior spaces, but that this taunt plane extends seamlessly into the interior. This is a warehouse district, and it's adjacent to downtown, and there's a lot of historic buildings and historic fabric here. And I just like the idea of having something very contemporary. I think this is a good way of starting a very interactive dialogue in the public realm.